Hey everybody, it's Megan at More and More Garden Center. We have had a lot of pruning questions this summer, so let's talk pruning. First of all, you're going to need good hardware to get you started. These are Felco pruners. This is my favorite. Super smooth, makes a really clean cut, and all the parts are replaceable through Felco. So that is a huge advantage. They can be sharpened, blades can be replaced, whatever you need to do. Now is the time of year on our hydrangeas where they're starting to look brown. The flowers have done their duty for the year and they are ready to go to sleep. Also, our shrubs are starting to look a little leggy, maybe not the best. So we're going to just give these a trim and it'll help them flush out fuller, thicker, more flowers next year. When making pruning cuts, you always want to go right above a node. So the node is this section here where you've got leaf buds, and this is the node. So you don't want to cut here because all of this area of stem is just going to die off, and that is going to leave dead wood for pest and disease to get into the plant. So we want to cut as close as we can above that leaf node and cut at a slight angle so that water will roll off of there. On hydrangeas this size, I would either just deadhead them if you like the size and shape that they are, or I would go back about a third and just clean up the look of them. And that'll get them started better next year. Like I said, it's going to help you have more flowers next year. You will also have sturdier stems because these older stems will be thicker, and then the new growth comes out on that. It'll hold up those flowers better. So there's lots of reasons to prune other than just to fill out the shrub. So now we're left with that for this hydrangea. But I think that's just fine, and it's going to be beautiful next year. Now, let's go check out some other things we can prune. Okay, so we decided to come out to our front flower bed, and we have got this gorgeous white pillar rose of Sharon that is reverting a bit and turning purple in some areas, but it is supposed to be very cylindrical, upright, and it is starting to get some weight on these branches and come out. So we're just going to remove that weight so that this can pull itself back up together and hopefully be the correct shape next year. So again, we just want to go in above a leaf node or where a branch is coming out and make a slightly angled cut so that the water will run off. And we're just trying to clean this up. So like that one's totally laying down. So we're going to go back to where it's kind of straighter and take that right off. Go back here. Let's see, this is getting a bit heavy, so we're gonna cut in there, but we're not, and this is just about shape and feel. So I feel like these are good cuts. And this is going to remove weight and help it pull up together. Now this is like so far out that I'm just going to remove this entirely. And that one, and that one, and probably this whole thing. Another reason I love Felcos, they'll cut a pretty big branch. So some of these branches have been crowding out this hydrangea and it hasn't been able to get as tall as it would like to. So removing some of these and trying to get this Rose of Sharon back into shape is going to help with that as well. It'll help the hydrangea live a much happier, longer life. And now that I've gotten all of that removed, I found this yew that has been living back here, covered up by this Rose of Sharon also. So let's give him a little trim. I like yews to look a little bit more natural, so I'm going to go with like uneven cuts on these so that it doesn't look like a total meatball. You can absolutely meatball them if that's what you prefer. They handle pruning very well. This is just my preference, and really pruning and mulching and gardening is all about your aesthetic and what you like. So if you don't want a natural look and you want a more formal clipped hedge look, feel free to do that. Use boxwoods, and some of the arborvitaes take that very well. Now that I've gotten past that, I see that this branch is entirely dead. Again, like I said on the hydrangea, we want to remove any dead wood because that's just going to be a place for pests and disease to harbor and move into the plant, take over. So I'm just going to get down here as close to the base as I can and cut that out. Okay. And then now that I've got some more space too, I can deadhead this hydrangea. This is a pretty shape, so I'm not going to trim its shape at all this year. Just give it a little deadheading so it looks a little bit cleaner. Pull out some of these vines that are in here. Let's see. So yeah, that's the basics of pruning, and we would be happy to talk with you in the store about what shape your shrubs should be and different types of pruning on different shrubs. Like, okay, so I made a few more cuts in the back, now back up front. And remember, folks, this is just a haircut. This is, maintenance. This is nothing major. If you make a bad cut, you can clean it up. Just, okay, so a bad cut is something like that where the bark rips. Just go a little bit further back, give it a nice clean cut, and take out that ripped bark. Again, this is a place for pests and disease to come in, so we don't want that. We want a nice clean cut. But this is just maintenance. This is personal care for your shrubs. Don't be afraid to go a little drastic. It will grow back. This is actually going to trigger hormones and things within the plant and say, oh, you lost something, let's replace that, and let's make it better by replacing it with more. So, if you cut here, the next 2 or 3 nodes are where it's really going to bush out from next year or when it starts growing again. So you want to, if you're just removing height from a plant, keep that in mind. So if you want it to grow back to this height next year, you may only want to come back a foot or so and cut there so that it bushes out down here and then goes up again. And yeah, don't be scared. I am the queen of don't be scared in the garden. So if you are nervous, come see me and I will show you what to do. Okay, so me and my Philcos have finished pruning the yews that we found back here and this giant rose of Sharon. I don't know if you can tell, but I can already feel it starting to pull back into shape properly. So that was our goal. We will have more tips, tricks, and videos on YouTube, our Instagram page, and Facebook. So keep checking back with us for more information.